Welcome back for another edition of the Watchpoint Post Show. We are live from the Blizzard Arena here in Los Angeles, and you know me by now, I hope. It's Puckett, I got the whole crew. We got Zoe, we've got Bren, we've got the great Monty Cristo, who's just casting. Now he's back on the desk. But Monty, this is your first post show. And on the post show, we do something every single time. This is your first post show with me, Monty.
I've never seen you before.
When I'm hosting the post show, I always like to start with, what did you learn today? What did Monty Cristo learn by watching the Overwatch League?
I feel like I lost some brain cells actually watching that last match.
Ouch.
I learned that the Spark do not like taking objectives. That's what I learned. They will run around in circles. Like you can just run around forever, and they're just going to keep going in circles till the end of time.
Nobody wants that objective time card. What about you, Brian? What did you learn today?
I learned that damage dealers still exist in the game, so that's pretty cool. We saw some happy Widowmaker, some Sire player Widowmaker. That was fun for 2 minutes.
Not just tanks and not just
Not
healers.
just tanks,
It was
not
nice
just
to see
healers.
some damage dealers. Well, so we all just learned in Super's post-game show that the players watch Watchpoint.
You know, I watched Watchpoint this morning. You know, Zoe wanted to call me super bad. I don't appreciate that very much. But you know, I think I'm definitely one of the top Ryans in the league for sure.
That's so not what I said. All right. Shout out to production, totally throwing me under the bus. I've never seen that stat card before. I called it out as being mean. You're super good to me. Wow, that was really bad. But I was not on me.
Brent, we all heard her saying super bad, right? It was
Zoe, I saw you in the stat room. You were typing in numbers. You were like, yo, I
she
can
made the
real get
graphic
super
herself.
bad.
She's great with arts and crafts. Let's
Guys,
keep it
don't
going.
be funny, super bad. And we were like, Zoe, don't do it, it's super
So
hard.
the
old
conversation
American
went
movie,
like,
Zoe.
Smurf is pretty good. And then production was like, okay, I'm going to write super bad now. That's exactly what happened. I had
you
nothing
know what
to
I
do
love
with
about this is usually they have to rein me in from saying things like that, but they just totally throw you under the
I love it. It's what we're going to do all season long. You guys have a lot of it coming up. And speaking of coming up, a little bit later in this show, we'll be joined by one of the Overwatch League's most exciting new talent. We got Kib from the Guangzhou Charge. He'll be joining us. And don't forget, if you want to check out Kib's Q&A later, you're going to need the Overwatch League All Access Pass. You can get that right now on twitch.tv. Get it, because it's going to last all season long. But let's get into the games today. After struggling in Week 2, both the San Francisco Shock and the Guangzhou Charge are looking to the Spark. Looking to get back on track. And in the first half, it was 1-1 after 2 games. Let's talk about this second half, though. What did we see from the Shock? Because they ran away with this series.
Felt like the Shock were just kind of warming up with this one. I think, I mean, I put out a little social media message on the old Twitterverse. I said that even if Shock ended up winning this series, I still think they're going to be disappointed. Because the early game from them was frankly atrocious, I think. The first 2 maps.
They played well in Route 66, I think.
Yes, they did, yeah. And that's what exactly the point I was trying to make was that they warmed up. It took them a while to really get going, but I just know that Krusty's going to be having a few words.
Theories. Why was Rascal on Brigitte for 3 maps?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Where was Architect?
We have so many questions. I don't think any one of us has an actual answer. Yeah, no, it looked a bit confusing. I wasn't quite sure what is actually going on for most of the game. However, some parts were definitely rather entertaining. I was happy to see Revenge in again. I do actually like that Spark is trying to give plenty of players some playtime.
Yeah. I think we're eventually, though, going to reach a point like London realized last year.
It's too much,
where these
spreading
teams-
thin.
Yeah, these teams got a little bit too many players, and they need to sort of kind of condense it down to a consistent roster at some point. And I guess a lot of these expansion teams, some of the, Shock as well, I think can be considered in this regard. They're just still kind of figuring out what players they want to be running on a regular basis.
What did you like today, Monty, when you were watching the Shock here? Do you think that they played to their opponent's level? Did they show you anything new compared to their match against the NYXL?
I mean, I thought their attack on Hollywood was honestly like horrific. And
no, I agree.
I was really surprised that the Spark refused to take any kind of advantage on Hollywood. And, as we went to Anubis 2, I think Spark just wasted a bunch of time banks and huge attack advantages that they had. So I guess I learned that the Shock are capable of just like running around and confusing their opponents potentially, but I would put that more on the Spark. Like I said, Route 66 I think was a good map from the Shock, but everything else was like a really big disappointment.
Well, I have great news for you, Monty. Despite a big disappointment with the overall strategy, we saw some fantastic individual performances, including a performance from our player of the match. This is presented by Omen by HP, and today, It's going back to him. The great Zarya.
Yeah.
Sinatra again. Questionable grabs that time, yes, but this man always has a high charge, and once he gets that big beam, he deals out some serious damage.
And they play around him too, and I think that's one of the reasons why the Shock has been so good outside of this series. And I agree with Brendan, they did look like they were warming up, but I think Sinatra has been consistently great.
Yeah, I like that they included the clip as well where he missed the EMP on everyone in the play of the game hight. I think that's
Happens
nice
to
touch.
the
Sometimes you just whiff those, but Brian, looking at this average energy of 56%, 58,000 damage throughout the games. Do you want to see him back on Sombra or just stay on the Zarya?
I think, well, I mean, he didn't put a... the Sombra was more of like a stalling so he could get back to the point, but the Zarya, he is one of the better Zaryas in the league all around, to be honest. And I really do like the fact that, like you said, Monty, Shock play around him quite often, and he is a very highly mechanically skilled player. He's got a lot of potential. I still think he hasn't reached it, and he's going to be a fantastic
He's
player.
only going to get better from here. And already, your player of the match presented by Omen by HP. After a devastating loss to the Shanghai Dragons last week, the Boston Uprising looked to right the ship today in their match against the Seoul Dynasty. In all honesty, I did not think it was going to happen against Fissure and the boys. Bren, you definitely did not pick it right on the pre-show today. Let's talk about this Boston squad because they came out swinging.
I was dead impressed with Boston, I think. Yeah, I honestly, when I was predicting Boston against Seoul, I wasn't expecting them to be this good. It was based off the impression that I seem to have this kind of hidden intuition that Seoul are just going to implode any day now, with Fissure and JESCEG just kind of like wrangling control for who can be the main caller. I'm basing that off no inside information, just basically.
You have not heard any of their
this
me
is
guessing.
just us.
Yeah, essentially, just me guessing. But Boston really impressed me. I think them having the addition of Color Hex and now Fusions as well. This is the roster that they've been practicing with. And they've really shined here. Their ultimate combos were crisp, they were clean. Boston looking like a very good squad. And I've got to really give props as well to the management of Boston in managing to build another roster despite losing a lot of their players that they had in their first year.
I have to say what impressed me the most from Boston was not just the way that they managed to combine the ultimates, it was also just the general target calling they managed to do. Jaehong has been picked up almost first thing in almost every engagement throughout the entirety of the early stages of the game. It was a bit different throughout the last two maps, I do believe. However, I think their target calling in that regard was incredibly cleverly done.
I think what really impressed me about Boston was that they were winning maps, even though they were getting fewer eliminations from Seoul. Yeah. And the way they were doing it was with some crazy mind games. And they came in prepared for Seoul's EMPs with the Sombra. Yep. They were hiding their supports around corners. They were doing weird attacks that were not really... They were like faking Winston goats while running Reinhardt goats, and it was just, there were all these layers of mind games. It was actually like a super cool match from Boston Analytics.
I like that you mentioned AimGod actually as like a player and playing around the Sombra in particular. I was speaking to Wolf as this match was going on. Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? AimGod has really shot up my rankings in terms of
in the running for best Zen in the league right now.
He was like 1 meter away from the edge of that EMP. That is about as good positioning as you get. He was around the corner too. I mean, fantastic play from AimGod.
Incredible stuff from the Boston Uprising. Great way to bounce back as soon as you get Fusions back in the lineup, and a strong showing from the whole team overall. But coming up, a perfect debut and some justice for the Fusion. We got plenty more. This is the Watchpoint Post Show. The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered. We're back. I'm your host, Chris Puckett, and we saw some awesome action today. Some great performances here in the Overwatch League, especially from the rookies. When it came down for the Florida matchup today, we're excited to see what was going to come from the Charge, but I don't think anyone expected such strong highlights coming out of some of the new faces, including a guy named Apply, who we had on the post show just a week ago, already in the starting lineup here, getting his face taken by Happy and friends.
Yeah, I will say this. I've been honestly impressed at the rates that a lot of these teams are improving. You know, as much as we did kind of discredit Guangzhou Spark in our last series. They've been improving, and Florida is another name I want to add to that list where they are seeing improvements when it comes from game to game. So I'm excited now that we've got sort of this higher level of competition, at least compared to last year. These teams are starting to even up, and the playing field, the bar is being raised, if you like.
And there's one of the guys who is those rookies. So we highlighted McGravy during the halftime. What was he showing you from this Florida Mayhem squad? Do you want to see him in the lineup more often?
I actually really do. I'd love to see if he can continue in that trajectory. I mean, if he's showing up for the first time ever playing on this stage, you would assume that the nerves would maybe get the better of you, but that was not the case with McGravy. He managed to eat 2 grass straight out of the gate. Two really impactful plays he's been showing us on the stage, and actually he went backstage afterwards and yelled about that.
He's 23-0. Not a bad entry into the Overwatch League. We saw the Charge, though, in the second half here on Horizon. Some big plays out of Hotba, back on the Diva. You saw Rio popping off on multiple main tanks as expected from the Charge once again. Looking at this matchup, though, how close was it in your eyes, Brent?
It was an interesting one. Definitely close, obviously, because it went to the map 5 again, as we saw a little bit later on. But what's really kind of
big on
got
me.
shown
I think
out
this
for
is
me
what
again,
we need to
big
talk
on
about.
me, which, you know, he pulls us out on King's Row. It's the first time we've seen it on Rialto, at least. I think it's the first time May has ever been played on Rialto in the history of the Overwatch League as well. It seemed to work, despite the fact that at the time we were looking at each other.
I think it's horrible on Rialto.
I agree with you, Monty. Glad that we're in agreement over once, you know? It was a strange strategy. It's quite an open map, but it ended up working to their advantage because I think Guangzhou were taking a little bit off guard there.
Yeah, it worked, but it didn't work. And
It worked, but it didn't work. But if it works,
did.
you know, is it really a bad strat, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think one of the things we learned, though, is that Ilios is trouble here for the Mayhem. The Charge won that one in back-to-back rounds in a Game 5 to seal the deal. And that victory puts the Charge now at 2-2, well within the fight for one of our 8-stage playoff spots in just a few weeks. Now, one team that we don't expect to see in our stage playoffs is going to be the Washington Justice, who entered today's match desperate to get their first victory here in the Overwatch League. But sadly, today would not be the day.
But I have to say, they have to be happy with the way they performed. I think they actually showcased some pretty good Overwatch, at least for the majority of this series, the first map. No, I don't think they were terribly bad in the second map either. And I think in the first map specifically, they did a really good job to just sticking to their guns. As you said in the halftime, Fusion tried to get fancy. They tried to branch out, playing some different comps, and Justice just went back to their basics.
Like that strategy by Philly, if you're wondering why they were in the spawn there, they were pre-firing, kind of anticipating if Justice were going to be running a Pharah Mercy composition. So they were kind of trying to plan for it, and because they were still in the spawn, they could swap once they found out what Justice were actually running. So those kind of mind games are always interesting to me. Unfortunately, it was also partly the reason why Fusion lost that map. So yeah, you know, you gotta say,
They gave up
really
40% before the end of the first team fight. It wasn't the best way to start a game. Fusion did come back, though, in that game 2 on Hollywood. You saw Carpe doing some damage, EQO all over that kill feed, and then Boombox back in the lineup really seemed to be a big difference maker for the Fusion once again.
I don't know about that.
No?
In fact, I think that it was more troubling for Philly that they played this badly, even with Boombox back in the lineup, because we saw the same problems that they've had with communicating with Sado. Something is fundamentally wrong about Sado's communication and positioning with the rest of this team, and having Boombox in did not solve it.
Is it Fraggy time?
Look, I said it was Fraggy time in the pre-show. It is time to free Fraggy 100%.
Where is he, do you think?
I don't know.
He's definitely grooming his beard at the moment.
I think that he is standing there stoically, a single finished tear rolling
He's
down
waiting
his
for the
cheek.
bat signal, I'm telling you. Like, he's ready to come in at any moment.
Philadelphia Fusion, in the end, is able to close out on Route 66, and we'll take this one 3-1. Are you worried for Philly? Hot start 2-0. They struggled last week 0-2.
I've
They
been
beat
down on
Washington
Philly
3-1.
this whole time. I've
true,
been
you
the one
have.
saying that Philly is not as good as people think they are, and they've been really struggling to play anything outside of a Winston 3-3 composition, which is true. And until they fix the fundamental flaws that they have with Sato, it's going to keep going this way.
We'll definitely keep our eyes on the Fusion, but coming up, we have Kib from The Charge. He tells us about their big win today. Also, we got some special things, including our Employee of the Month skit featuring Monty's face. You don't want to miss it. It's on Watchpoint, the post show.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Honey, we're home. You know what time it is. It's time for the Watchpoint Post Show, and we've got a very special guest right now. You know him from Contenders Europe. You watched him take down the USA in the World Cup. Yeah, that was sad. And now he's leading the
I
charge
always
with
love that. I don't know
Guangzhou
what
right
you're
now.
talking about.
It's Kib. Kib, welcome to the Watchpoint Post Show. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
You got a big win today. First off, let's talk about that. How do you feel coming off the victory over the Mayhem?
I feel like the win today was a little bit sloppy from us, like our side. We came in, I think, very prepared, but we just didn't execute our plans very well, and I think they caught us off guard a lot on certain maps.
In the end, you did walk away with the victory, a much closer victory than you expected, but let's talk about the steps leading up to this point. I hear you went over to China, you practiced with the team before the Overwatch League kicked off. What was that experience like for you as a guy who's coming from the UK, now practicing with teammates in China? Did you ever see that coming?
No, honestly, I was pretty confident getting into the World Cup, especially after World Cup performance, since we did so well. But I didn't expect to get on a Chinese team of all the teams. Going to the boot camp, I think, was a little bit scary because I'd never been to China and it was very, very far away from home. But once getting there and meeting the team and the players and the staff, coaches, everything, it was really, really easy to just fit in and have a good time.
Excellent.
So you did have a really good showing at the World Cup, and talking to your managers, they said that's why you were given a chance to try out for the team. So what was the trial process for you, and how did the World Cup performance really impact you?
Well, the World Cup performance, I think, a big part of it was Hayes and Boombox coming from the finals last year. I think Hayes is one of the best coaches in the league right now, and I never had a coach at that level. So I think him alone improved my level of play to the point where I could come into the league. And just such a strong showing for the World Cup. He was very confident on all of us to be able to beat USA. I'm sorry, it still stings for some people.
Yeah, I mean, listen, mate, I was just trying to get my green card, so you can't hold it against me.
I thought it was funny.
It was quite funny. I'm not gonna lie, it was funny. So I have a question now. We're both from the UK. Apart from the fact that I've tried to get myself removed from my own country by predicting against you in the World
Still
Cup.
don't forget that.
Is there anything you're missing from the UK? For me personally, it's peri chicken, peri chicken. That's the biggest thing for me. But what about you?
Not
Nothing
much.
right now?
No,
You
not
haven't-
really.
how long have you been here in LA for?
Like 2 months about
Yeah,
now?
so you haven't kicked in yet.
Yeah. No need
It
for
will in a
pussy
minute.
Pigs play yet.
Not quite yet.
Yeah, we'll
Not
see.
quite it. Yeah, it happens in about 2 weeks. That's my
Yeah.
prediction.
Nobody hit
That's roughly 2 weeks. Since we just talked about your experience in China, your team consists of a lot of different nationalities, a lot of different languages. I know that your coaches actually publicly claimed that there is no such thing as a language barrier. Did that feel that way to you when you started playing with that team?
In China, yes, but that was because like we didn't know how to like structure the comms around our team. But as the bootcamp went on and we played the show match against Seoul, I think they really found a way to like thin it out, I guess is the word, to make sure we can always be like on the same page and work together as a team. And I think you can see that in some of our matches, especially the ones against Titans. We move and play together very well when we want to, but sometimes we do like mess up. There is some communication errors, but like, I mean, it's kind of rare around about now. Like our team's in a very good spot, I think. We're just a little rough on the edges. But I think as time goes on, you'll see more and more us just be stronger together and move together as a team.
Clearing it up already in stage 1, that's got to be impressive. I mean, we're only in week 3 here. Well, Kib, it's time for rapid fire. You know how this works. Did you watch the Apply interview?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you something. As soon as it comes to your brain, you have to answer. No thinking about it twice. You ready? Dogs or cats?
Cats.
Who's your best
my
hero?
goodness.
Huh?
Who's your best hero?
Frick.
What was that?
I'm sorry.
Who's your favorite teammate?
Happy.
Okay.
Best Chinese team. Best Chinese team.
Us.
Good answer. Team you want to face the most in the Overwatch League?
Houston Outlaws.
What's a kib? Where's that nickname coming from?
I hit my keyboard once and got it.
Nice.
Who's the most overrated team in the league? Oh, this
Maybe
is-
New York.
New York? Oh, that's the spice. Okay.
Monty or Monty?
Monty.
Good choice.
Monty or Dilla?
Monty.
And last but not least, what is going on in this photo? It's coming. I'm loading it up on my cell phone right now.
Yeah, can we talk about that?
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
But really, let's
I'd like
talk
to talk
about
about
that.
What is this outfit? Because I feel like you went shopping in Brent's closet.
Yeah, exactly.
True. You might have stolen that from me. I'm not too sure.
I was trying some jutsus. You know, I was trying on an outfit. It was just a random day. We were in between scrims.
Yeah.
And I happened to find a robe in my closet.
Well,
Just put it on.
that was one of the highlights of my day, was
great.
seeing that photo. I don't know how it took me this long to catch that on the internet, but thank you, Kip, for joining us. You're not done yet. I'm going to make you sit through the top 5 moments of the day. Starting at number 5, it's you playing against McGravy here on NUMBANI. Tell me about this guy. What is it like going up against his diva?
I think this is like the first time we played against, or I played against him. But coming today, I didn't really know what to expect of him. But after seeing him play today, I think he's actually a very, very good player. And his debut was very, very good.
Powerful 23-0 start to his Overwatch career. At number 4, though, it's teamwork makes the dream work. JESCEG setting up Michelle for the big bang.
Yeah, there was another big play in here too, because Fisher actually managed to pin Fusion.
Yep.
So that shield was gone. Then came the boop. Then came the bomb. It was absolutely beautiful. Great teamwork.
Perfect stuff at number 4. At number 3, Carpe and Guido have a moment.
This is just, I don't know, man. Something about Carpe, the way he plays. Everything he does is BM, you know? It's like, just gives him a little wave. He's like, yeah,
His existence is BM. That's great.
it is. And it's fantastic.
Poor
Don't
little
have any other
Guido.
way.
The Omnic is so sad. At number 2, it's IDK with the boops into the well, sending everybody home.
This guy's one of the scariest Lucios in the league right now. I
Scariest
think.
Lucios?
Yeah, I think so. I know they're not performing very well right now, but in scrims, this guy is a complete monster.
Yeah.
Love that boop at number 1. The SHU-SHU train is back in action, Zoe.
So
Oh
good.
man, I can't get enough of what I'm seeing from Shu. It just doesn't matter who he.
Oh,
what he
yeah.
plays against. What was that?
Can we just watch this one more time on the camera, man?
Best Anna in the league, quote me on that.
Look at this.
See,
Look at
thank
this
you,
move.
thank you. There, you heard it.
Yo, is that Shu? He's changed, man.
Absolutely. Ladies and
So
gentlemen,
versatile.
those are your top 5 moments of the day. Incredible moments here in the Overwatch League. And now it's time to see who have you been cheering for in the Twitch chat. So far, it's still Atlanta Reign in the number 1 spot. Look at Guangzhou, though. They are now outside of your top 10. Guangzhou jumps up to the number 2 spot, and the Spitfire as well as Paris will hold down 9 and 10. When we look at the Cheer Bits leaderboards, its numbers still with 135,000 bits. Ridiculous support all the way down to U505 Type 9. with 30,000.
Rolls off the tongue.
Gets a very specific shout out as I slowly read your obnoxious name. Thank you though for the love. Keep those donations coming. And of course, big shout out to this guy right here, Kib, joining us on the Watchpoint post show. Remember, hang around. He's doing a Q&A only for those with the All Access Pass on Twitch. That's gonna do it for us for now. When we come back, we got some awards to hand out. We have some employees of the month in the building. We'll tell you who is taking home some beautiful certificates. Welcome back. It's the Watchpoint Post Show, and as we arrive at the end of the month of February, we'd like to take a moment to honor the most hardworking members of the Overwatch League with our Employee of the Month awards. So, Zoe, why don't you kick us off? Who is your Employee of the Month?
Thank you so much, Pocket. Yeah, I'd like to start with my Employee of the Month, and I would like to give this one to Wizard Hyung. We received a overall of 1 nomination for Wizard Young. It came from himself, actually. So we would like to give him the Genius of the League Award. Congratulations. You must be so proud.
Lovely.
I like that pick. I like that pick a lot. Unfortunately, Bren, it's your turn to go.
I'm next. All right. So my name's Bren, if you didn't know. I'm my Employee of the Month. I'm giving it to SHU for his amazing rookie performance, even though he's kind of not a rookie, but he might be, who knows. But he does play roles very well. And I think he had a very good February. So there you go, SHU. I'll give you this in person one day.
How did you become a manager where you could barely write your own name?
What's going on?
What is the handwriting?
So when I was told to write this, I didn't want to give away my signature in case people forged my stuff.
Understood.
So
I was going to attribute it to UK education, but
I mean, that too. Yeah, that too.
Monty, stop looking at Bren. Look at my camera. Who you got?
all right. I'm going to give it to the Salesman of the Month, the Atlanta Reign. Not only is DeFran #1 in jersey sales in the league, you are on top of the league when it comes to bits. But I think the most important thing you've been able to sell, Atlanta Reign, is BS that you're going to be an elite team to your fans. So that takes some real skill. Excellent salesmanship.
Wow.
Hot fire from Monty, as always. And finally, last but not least, I'm getting tired. As the self-appointed night manager of the Watchpoint desk, I'd like to acknowledge someone's perfect attendance here in the Overwatch League throughout the entire month of February. Zoe Schwind is the only one to properly come to work every single day. So we want to correct some things here, Zoe. It's not Zoe, as Super said. It's not Soy, as we saw on a sign earlier today. Her name is S-O-E, and you've been here every single day.
That's true. I have been here every single day. I do get paid for that, to be fair.
Unlike somebody.
I mean,
unlike someone else who also gets paid and didn't show up.
Yeah, where is Sideshow? We know he's listening right now. We know he's listening. Where you at, Josh?
He's
Come
whispering.
back.
He's
All right,
whispering
well,
in the
for
dark
those who
corner.
are worried, unfortunately, Bren is back, but so is Zoe to keep that perfect attendance up tomorrow. And here is a look at the schedule. We're going to be kicking things off with a great battle. Looking forward to this one. one. Gladiators going up against the London Spitfire. Is Decay in the building? We'll find out. Toronto Defiant versus NYXL goes down a little bit later with Vancouver taking on the 0-3 LA Valiant. Before we close things out with the battle of our two Chinese teams, we got Shanghai Dragons facing off against the Chengdu Hunter. Now, real quick, Zoe, what are you looking forward to most here, guys? Everybody gets one. I want to start with you, Zoe. Which matchup tomorrow are you watching?
I wanted to pick all of them, but I guess since I only can pick one, I go with the Dragons Hunters. I want to see if the Dragons can continue it. I want to see if the Hunters will continue their chaotic. I'm not sure what it is I'm watching most of the time, but I like it, and I want to see more of that.
I like it. Brenji, why should the fans turn off the anime and turn on to you?
I think the first match of the day is going to be an absolute banger, honestly. I think Gladiators versus London. London are looking improved. Gladiators are getting Decay in. It's going to be a good one.
And Mr. Monty, last but not least, best thing you're looking forward to tomorrow?
I just want to see the Titans play again. I don't really care who they're playing against at this point in time. They're such an exciting team to watch. Love it.
All right, final question for Monty, just because I don't get you on the Watchpoint show tomorrow.
Sure.
Is the San Francisco Shock still considered a top 3 teams with the NYXL and Vancouver Titans after watching their performance tonight?
That's a hard one. I guess it depends on how the Gladiators and the Spitfire do tomorrow, because somebody has to take that spot, right? So up for grabs, up for grabs.
I put him on the spot. Stay tuned to his power rankings on Twitter. That's going to do it for the Watchpoint show. Make sure you tune in tomorrow at 3:30. And remember, Q&A with your All Access Pass. Kim will be on the show. We'll see you then.